Hi guys, today we are back with a fourth episode on relationship series, and we'll be talking about toxic relationships, what is a toxic relationship and what are the signs of it, how you can recover from it, what forms of abuses are considered as toxic abuse. So, sorry. Before we start, let me just tell you one thing, that every relationship have their ups and downs. It doesn't mean that if today your relationship is going bad or through a rough phase, it's a toxic relationship. It is not like that. Toxic behavior leads to a toxic relationship, not the patches in the relationship. So there would be times when one day your partner is feeling that you don't give me enough attention, and then there will be times when your partner is like, okay, I feel like giving up on my partner, let's just end this relationship. So we really need to see and process that what is toxic relationship and what is not. Sometimes a show of concern could also lead to excessive possessive behavior, and sometimes it might not. So there is a huge line. Actually, it's not even something which is like small or a thin line that we say. It's a huge difference when we talk about toxic relationships and a healthy relationship. So okay, so what is exactly toxic relationship? Toxic relationship is where there is a repetitive mutual destructive behavior that is hampering or affecting your relationship in a way that there's a lot of competition involved, there's a lot of conflict involved, and your one partner or the other partner is always trying to control your behavior, which lead to toxicity. More than that, when you are in a relationship, you are in it because you want to feel better, you feel good with your partner. But in toxic relationship, this is not the case. You feel bad, you feel worse than you should actually feel in a relationship. That is where your partner is unsupportive of your actions, or always misunderstanding you, always insulting you, always invalidating you, or attacking you, which could be physical or emotional. So we would be talking about that also. So in essence, toxic relationship is where there's a lot of control, there is a lot of manipulation involved, and there are a lot of conflicts that are involved. So okay, so now we will talk about what are toxic behaviors. So there are a lot of toxic behaviors, but this is something which we see in a day-to-day basis, and these are the behaviors that we could come up with. And if you guys have or would want to add more behaviors to it, we would like to discuss that too. So the first thing is being possessive. Okay, if your partner is asking you, where are you going, by what time will you be back, is it being possessive? No, it's concern. Being possessive is in every 10 minutes your partner is asking you where you are, what you are doing, they want you to reply immediately. That is being possessive. They are controlling you each and every moment, not just that okay, right now you're going out, by what time will you be back, maybe I can come and pick you up. That is concern. But okay, be back by this much time. If you are not back, then the partner keeps constantly calling you, where are you, when will you be back. That is being possessive, which leads to a lot of unhealthy behavior. Second thing is being jealous. Okay, people say that healthy jealousy is fine. I personally don't agree to it, because jealousy is not good at any level. It is not a healthy behavior, because jealousy will lead to a lot of actions of a partner who's jealous, which will sabotage the relationship in the very first place. It starts with the basics, but eventually when the partner gets insecure in a relationship, it takes a peak, and that is when it leads to a lot of toxicity. Then there is a lot of dominance by the partner, there is a lot of manipulation involved, and then there is abuse. So abuse is not only physical abuse, there is emotional abuse, there is financial abuse, and there is sexual abuse. Emotional abuse is something which is very subtle. People don't tend to acknowledge it that much because it's not visible. Something that's not seen is not acknowledged. So physical abuse is still seen, because yes, there is a physical harm to the person. You could see it. That's why we acknowledge it. We consider it as an abuse. But what about emotional abuse? You can't see it. It doesn't mean it's not damaging your mental health. Okay, so now we will be focusing on what are the signs of toxic relationship. The first thing is, one partner will always be feeling tired. Why? Because you are putting in so many efforts in a relationship. There are so many efforts involved that at the end of the day, when there is no return to it, you start to feel tired. You tend to feel you are putting in so much and you're not getting anything back out of it. Or you're constantly thinking about what to do, how can I make my partner happy. Okay, if I do this, will my partner actually appreciate me for my efforts? So the amount of mental energy we are putting in thinking about, ruminating about how to make my partner feel safe is something very important, but it leads to a lot of draining of your energy. Then there is feeling low, wherein one partner who's being abused will always feel low no matter what. Even on the happy days, your partner will not be able to enjoy that day. For a very basic example that we could think of is, suppose you go out and you are spending time with your friends, and your partner texts you something which is, let's say, picking up a fight, or something like, where are you, why aren't you back, why didn't you tell me you're going with your partner, that puts you down. So even on the days when you're happy, you're actually not happy because your partner is just trying to sabotage your day, which will make you obviously feel sad about it. More than that, you never would want to share your happy days with a partner. In a relationship, normally when you have a sad news, when you have a happy news, the first thing that comes in your head, okay, I would want to share with this partner. But when you are in a toxic relationship, you will never have that thought. You'd always be like, if I tell this to my partner, how will he react? Will he be happy or will he not be happy? So why just not tell? So eventually you'll stop sharing a lot of things. So that's also one of the aspects of a toxic relationship. Then you're always uncomfortable around your partner, in the sense that you're always anxious when your partner is around you. You are like, okay, when will he leave? When will she leave? Why do I have to meet my partner today? You will find reasons to not meet your partner. It will cause you a lot of anxiety. You will not feel as if you're in your own skin when you are in a toxic relationship. Now, other points Akriti will be covering.
Yeah, so you also start feeling a lot of guilt inside you. So how does that happen? Because your partner keeps on blaming you for everything. That why did you do this? This happened because of you. This happened because of you. X, Y, Z reason. He or she will always come and tell you that it was your fault. So you start feeling guilty. You start manipulating these emotions inside you, and then like, okay, was I wrong? I should have done that. So that guilt keeps on going, and the intensity of the guilt keeps on building. And one more thing that happens, you feel relief when they leave. So when you have plans with them, when you for example, me and my partner are going to meet, and when they cancel upon, you're going to be like, oh my god, that is such a good relief. I didn't want it to go here. Like somewhere or the other, you would be happy to see them, but in subconsciously, you'll be like, okay, this is better. I can stay alone. I have that feeling. So that is a part of thing that happens in a toxic relationship. The other thing is feeling trapped. So what happens exactly is, somewhere or the other, you keep on feeling that I can't get out of this relationship. I can't get out of this thing. I want to break up, but I can't break up. So you start feeling trapped within the relationship. You start feeling trapped with the person. You try to tell them things. I feel trapped. I feel this. I feel that. But they keep on manipulating you. They keep on telling you things. And then all those emotions inside you keep on enhancing. One of the other things that happen is you tend to isolate. When you feel such feelings, when the feelings are getting higher, of trapped, guilt, all those feelings within you, one usually tends to isolate themselves. So how does that usually happen? So that isolation can happen willingly or non-willingly. Sometimes we don't get to know when our partner makes us stop meeting our friends, stop meeting our family. And then we tend to feel like, oh, why don't I have friends left over a period of 6 months? So your partner will be like, okay, when you have plans with your friend, let's go out for dinner today, let's go out for a movie today. And then you'll be like, okay, you'll cancel your plan with your friends, you'll cancel your plan with your family, and then you'll go out with the partner. But what usually happens, that person is making the relationship so toxic that they stop making you meet from the outside world and start isolating. All your time is equal to their time that time. And that is what you start having isolation time. And over a period of 6 months, a year, and then you start realizing, I don't meet my friends anymore. I don't meet my family anymore. How is that happening? Why I'm not having me time? Why I'm not doing that? And that isolation period, you realize, oh, now I'm alone. What do I do? Where do I go? So those feelings, these are some indications, these feelings towards a toxic relationship. Yeah.
So now we'll be talking about why we actually stay in a toxic relationship. Okay, because people who are in a relationship for a very long time, it's very difficult to get out of a relationship. We understand that totally. We understand the amount of courage it takes to get out or end a relationship. But then there are times we choose to stay in a relationship which we know is not doing any good to us. Rather than that, it's also harming us in many ways at many levels we are not even aware of. So the very first thing is that what happens is we live in a constant belief that our partner will change. One day, that hope our partner will change is so strong that we forget the reality of a relationship. So what's real is not in question anymore. What we want from a partner is what is important. So that is the problem which happens when we talk about or think about our partners will change. The second thing is that even when a partner does or does something which is wrong, which is not acceptable, we try to rationalize it by saying that okay, my partner did that because maybe somewhere I triggered my partner. So that is why. So in the hope that your partner will change, you live in an illusionary world of that change, and you start rationalizing their behavior, because of which you suppress your emotions, your feelings, and over the period of time it is suppressed to a level that there is no difference between whether this relationship is toxic or not. You cannot just differentiate their behavior as wrong or right. So that's one of the things. The other thing is that self-esteem. So there is a quote which I am sure many people would have heard of, that we tend to stay or be in a relationship with a partner with the amount of love we think we deserve. So the amount of love we think we deserve, we tend to stay there. But then what happens when we stay in a toxic relationship? Why do we feel we don't deserve love? The basic answer to it is self-esteem. Over a period of time, when you are in a relationship and one partner is always criticizing the other partner, it tends to harm your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is so low that you believe this is what you deserve. You believe even if you get out of this relationship, you have no energy to find a new partner, and you think that if this is what I've got, this is the best I have got, without even going out and seeing, no, this is not true. There are much better people. Till the time you're not out of a toxic relationship, you will never find a happy relationship. So the other points will be covered by Akriti.
Yeah, so one other thing, like Shivani just mentioned, it was about being alone. So I would like to elaborate a little upon that. So, when you're in a toxic relationship, you tend to not have me time, which is necessary. You tend to forget about those things. You tend to forget that you as an individual, you need to take care of your own needs also, right? There are certain times that we need to actually cater to our time. We need that time mentally to function well in the society. We always have the time. So maybe a shopping day, maybe a movie time, maybe, just taking in leave from your office and just like, being on your bed, watching Netflix and doing nothing. So what is that? That is something that you would want to do for yourself. But in a toxic relationship, you forget all that. You forget that you as an individual should also have a me time. You are so much concerned about your partner that I'm not able to fulfill his or her demands, I'm not able to do that you don't get to, in a healthy relationship, you have your partner time, your time, and a time that you spend together. But in a toxic relationship, this would just be I'm not able to do that. How do I compensate that? Where your mental health being, where yourself, you tend to derogate that. So that is one other thing. Another thing, being alone in a way that you have past relationships. Everyone has bad relationships. Everyone have bad opportunities and everything in their life. So those things keep on developing. Those things, that fear that now if I step out, what if I find another person like that? What if I can't find that person? What if I can't find anyone else that I can date? Then you have that fear of rejection, because your partner is constantly criticizing you, constantly blaming you for things that you're as she mentioned, your self-esteem is so low at that moment that you're okay, maybe I can never find a good person in my life, maybe this is what I deserve. So this is one of the things. Another thing that happens is usually what happens, because what happens here, that in relationships, when you think that this is my partner, this is the best I have got till now, I don't want to be alone in a society, in some pressure where you feel like everyone has their couples, everyone is going out with their friends, everyone has a partner to be around, to be with, that we stop enjoying our company, thinking that okay, even if we break up, even if we don't have a partner for a while, we can live by ourselves. that is something that keep on happening. So that thing in your head does not apply at that moment, and that's the reason one cannot break off from the toxic relationship, because your self-esteem says a lot about you at that moment. Do you want to continue further?
Yeah, no question. So now we'll be talking about kinds of abuse. So there are various kinds of abuse. We are going to just cover the brief ones over here, because if we actually go into kinds and various types of abuse, there will be too many. So the basic and major ones that we would be covering is emotional, financial, physical, and sexual abuse. So starting with emotional abuse which is very difficult to find out, abuse which is very difficult to be recognized that it's happening to you, till the time to an extent where you are mentally drained or going through some or the other form of mental health disorder. That is a very basic thing. So the first form of emotional abuse which we tend to see in a relationship is verbal aggression. It's okay to be assertive with your tone. It's not okay to scream. You cannot scream on your partner. It is not healthy, because the impact you're creating on the person who's on the receiving end is wrong. The person would be like, okay, my partner's always screaming at me. It will lead to a lot of fear inside the person. The person will always stay in a fearful situation, because you never know when the partner will be triggered and when the partner will start shouting on you, even for a very small thing. So for example, your partner asked you for water and you're busy doing something, because of which you forgot to give your partner water, and your partner will come up to you and start shouting, you never listen to me, you never cater to my needs, you never cater to my demands, what is this? This is wrong. So this is not acceptable in a relationship and is a form of emotional abuse. Second is manipulation. Okay, manipulation is, as the word explains, but from an example which I can tell you, is that your partner will decide how you feel. It's not you who will tell how I feel. It is your partner who's going to determine for you for what your feelings are. Example, if a person goes to B and is like, I'm really sad today, the partner will manipulate you in a way that, no, you shouldn't be sad today, I've got a good contract, so why are you sad? Let's go celebrate. Completely ignoring how the partner is feeling, they will try to change it as per their needs. Second is invalidation, where you undermine your partner's opinions, your belief, their ideas and their values. So for instance, that two people are discussing about a movie and one partner says something and the partner's like, no, this is not true, you were zoned out during the movie. What would you know anyway? This is, let's say, a romantic movie, you'd hardly understand romance, so this is not something acceptable. This is a form of invalidation of feelings. Then silent treatment. Silent treatment, as the word explains, is that a partner just goes cold towards you. What is it exactly? Suppose you have a fight with your partner, and instead of sorting it out in a healthy relationship, two people come together, discuss what happened, find the reasons about it, try to solve it. In an unhealthy toxic relationship, your partner will just cut off. They will stop talking. Maybe they will not talk for months at stretch. Will completely ghost you, or will start stonewalling you. This is silent treatment. It leads to a lot of psychological trauma for the person who's on the receiving end. Then unrealistic expectations. Expectations like, if I'm texting you right now, within a minute I need your reply. This is an unrealistic explanation. I don't care where you are, I want you to reply me. If I want to go out for a movie today, that means I want to go out for a movie today. Unrealistic expectations doesn't mean that it needs to be something huge. It could be very basic. Over here, like a very basic requirement, the person is expecting, you reply me right now, how dare you not reply me? This is an unrealistic expectation. Now we'll be talking about physical abuse in a relationship.
So what we mean by physical abuse is harming you physically in any way. That can be on any body part, that can be anywhere on your body. So what happens in a physical abuse is holding hands in a way, sometimes when you are there, you're holding your hands like that is normal, but holding your hands by wrist, pulling in anger, that would be something that is having a physical abuse. Holding you in any position or any, without your consent, that is also like when you tell them to stop, they don't, and then you tell them you're hurting, they still keep on going. Pulling your cheeks in anger. See, we do with the partners is sometimes we get cheesy, we pull each other's hair, cheeks, and anything that happens in a relationship. That is up to two individuals with consent. But here in physical abuse, we mean means something or the other when it leads to a bruise on your body part, when it leads to certain harm on your body parts, telling you that if you go there, I'll pull out a gun, I'll cut you with knife. This is a form of physical abuse. Telling you, hurting you during a sexual activity, hurting you without your permission can be a form of physical abuse. So physical abuse is restrained somewhere or the other, hurting you physically on your body parts without your consent, and then it can lead to a lot of emotional trauma in an individual because it pains physically, it pains mentally, recovering over it. So a lot of things happen over physical abuse. Now we will be talking about financial abuse.
Okay, so I think most of you would even acknowledge there's something known as financial abuse and would be wondering what exactly financial abuse is. Okay, so the first thing is that it's not even the first thing. Very basic of financial abuse is controlling your finances, controlling your partner's finances, going from 5 rupees to going to lakhs of rupees. That amount of control leads to financial abuse. The other part is where the person interferes with your job. Interference with your job means trying to sabotage your earning. They will be like, your job is not good. They'll come to your workplace, they'll start creating scenes, they'll start picking up fights, they'll find reasons for you to quit the job so that you get cut out of that financial independence. Then comes exploiting your resources. Exactly. So every person has their own financial resources. You may be having your debit cards, you may be having your credit cards. So in this case, what a partner will do, they will go overuse your debit card or your credit card. They will cross the limit. In that case, you have to pay for the credit card that you actually save for yourself. So this is one form of financial abuse. Criticizing your financial decisions. So wherein one partner decides, okay, I want to invest in this one, and the other partner is like, no, this is stupid, your idea is stupid, this fund is not good, you shouldn't invest in that. Having a healthy discussion over it, maybe that fund is not good, but how you put it is also very relevant. You cannot be like, your idea is stupid. You cannot just go outrightly insult a person. The way you communicate actually tells whether this is an abuse or not. So showing concern by saying, okay, that this financial investment is not a very good idea is fine. Going and telling your partner, you are stupid, don't invest here, invest in the fund I am investing because I think it is good. This is not a healthy way of communication, and it is also a form of financial abuse. Then asking for your expenditures. It is okay when two people are discussing about their finances that this is the amount we can spend in a month. It is okay to have that budget because everyone tend to do that. That's how you save. It is not okay when your partner is spending and you are asking on everything. Why did you spend on this? Why did you spend on that? Why did you spend this much? Suppose, for example, a person likes a dress and they go and spend like 2,000 on. Your partner gets angry. How dare you spend 2,000 rupees on a dress without asking me? So they need that control because toxic relationship is all about control. So control not only your financial things, but also control over your emotions, control over your body, control in every aspect. Financial abuse is one of the least acknowledged abuse because we tend to not realize it, especially in India for some reason. But it is a form of abuse and we should acknowledge it because it does lead to a lot of issues between the partners.
Yeah, so now we will be talking about sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is any kind of sexual act without your consent. So when your partner gets involved into sexual activities that you don't want to do it, you don't want that. So having an intercourse when you don't want it, when the word no is even told to your partner, still that is form of sexual abuse. Grabbing you in inappropriate places at inappropriate times can be a form of sexual abuse. So for example, in a party I'm just sitting, okay, and my partner comes up and grabs me by hand, starts kissing me, and I tell them to stop, like, I'm not very comfortable here in the place where I am right now, let's just not do it. But just to make other people kind of jealous, for example, from his or her intention, they start doing it more. That is a form of sexual abuse here. Even for example, passing sexual comments can be a form of sexual abuse. So not necessarily just enacting it out, like making you uncomfortable. For example, you're sitting in a group of friends or a group of family and passing comments over you sexually can be a form of very unhealthy relationship style in a toxic relationship. So a lot of people having this kind of relationship style will usually, one person is like, okay, they try to cover up the other person, and the other person keeps on going because they feel like they are getting uncomfortable, but they're not saying anything against it, right? In a group, so they will keep on saying it again and again, or they'll just enhance the topic, and then everyone gets quiet, or the atmosphere gets very uncomfortable, and someone else changes the topic. So all these forms of sexual abuse that keep on going on are different ways that we can see in a toxic relationship. Do you want to go ahead?
So now let's understand how a person on the receiving end feels. What is the damage that we unknowingly or knowingly causing to a person who's being abused in a relationship? The first and the foremost thing is lack of trust. Eventually, the person will develop a coping mechanism of not trusting, wherein even if they go in any relationship after that, they will not be able to trust their partner completely because of the trauma attached to that. So lack of trust will not only come in a romantic relationship, but it will also lead to a lot of family relationships where you'll be like, okay, if my partner treated me in a way, the person I trusted with my body treated me in a way I shouldn't have been, how can someone else treat me in a better way? So you will automatically start disconnecting and not trusting your partner at all. Then it leads to a lot of pessimism inside you. By pessimism, we mean that you become very negative in how you think. You will never see anything good in anyone for that matter. There will be no silver lining for you ever in your life again, because the person who has always been ridiculed or who has always been taught what they should do, what they should not do, how they should sit, how they should behave, they tend to start thinking the problem is inside them. They become so negative, their thought becomes so negative that even if they try कि okay, today I'll stay positive, I will look things in a neutral perspective also, this cannot happen because of the trauma that has been associated to their memories, because memory play a huge role when it comes to your relationships, how you conduct yourself and everything. Imagine a person who is in a relationship for 2 years and always been told that you cannot do this, partner is very manipulative, partner is very controlling. It is so toxic for the person who's on the receiving end.
And even like, as she mentioned all about self, so we have a loss of self that is called self-doubt. We start doubting ourselves in everything. Am I capable enough? Am I worth enough to do this? Is my worth actually investing? I should really invest in this relationship or not? So these are certain things, certain small things that leads to a lot of mental health disorders later. It can be emotional form, it can be, not loving yourself in any way, it can be like, not catering to your own needs. You just undermine about yourself, and you're like, okay, I can't do this, I am not worth it, so let's just leave myself. We don't deserve to be in a relationship, or my partner is always right, I can't do anything, let him or her do whatever they want to do, and I'll just keep listening to them myself. So the lack of, loss of sense of self that happens there, the distinguishness that happens, that one person loses them completely, and then you're like, okay, I'm just giving to my partner. I will make this relationship work. I will do whatever it takes for this relationship to work. Be it you don't realize it's a toxic relationship, a very unhealthy relationship yourself, but you keep on doing that. So what happens, another thing, you also get very defensive towards, for your partner, like, no, he's right because I love him or her, I want to be with him or her. So you start taking all whatever they do, good or bad for you, whatever they do for yourself or the society, they'll be like, no, whatever he did or she did was right, they shouted on me because I was wrong, I made a mistake, that's why he or she held me in certain way, and that's perfectly fine. So you start taking that defense for them, you start taking that thing for yourself, and you have that guards really high up that no one can come up and be like, you are in a toxic relationship, get out of it. Even if your friends tell you, because of isolation, everything that we told about, that we had all the signs of a toxic relationship, or anyone. So if anyone comes or your friends try to tell you that, here, these are certain things I want to talk to. No, why do you want to interfere in my relationship? Let me handle it. I don't want to do it. He or she is right. they are doing this, it's perfectly fine. So one of those things that come, your guards are really, really high at that moment, that you're not ready to hear it from yourself or from anyone else. So that is the part that we wanted to cover.
Okay, so I have a question for Akriti. Do you think it's possible to fix a toxic relationship?
So when two people know that you're having a toxic relationship, or when you sit and you tell them that these are the, we told you different relationship types in our previous videos. We went what is a healthy relationship, what are the different styles, with different attachment styles, how to find out how to work upon your toxic relationship patterns. So if Shivangi, for example, comes up and you're like, okay, we have a toxic relationship, Akriti, we need to figure it out. If two people are coming and sitting and actually talking about that this is hampering my mental health, you need to stop this, or if I go to my partner, or if I just tell Shivangi, for example, I'm sitting here with her, and if I tell her that, okay, I feel you, I hear you, now we can work upon this. So see, in any relationship, there is a form of emotional connect, love, for sure, it's there. Right? You don't want to just okay, I'm in a toxic relationship, let's just leave all that. If you have that form of attachment, if you two are willing to work with it, if you want to work towards it, then surely you can mend it. Surely you can work upon all these things that are actually creating a barrier for yourself, that you can fix upon if you want to talk about fixing a relationship. For example, a healthy relationship also has their ups and downs, right? Every relationship, be it any kind of relationship, has their up and downs. Someday, even at a work, even if you talk about work relationship, you have bad days, you're like, okay, I don't want to do it. Maybe for example, if you work somewhere and like, I don't want to do it, I'm not in a bad mood, let's go tomorrow, we'll come with the good mood and do this. You tell your boss that, okay, I'm not able to do it, can I do it tomorrow? And then you come to a mutual decision that, okay, fine, you want to finish this topic and then you can leave, or anything. Similarly, in a relationship, everyone has up and down. Every partner, be it anyone, will have their downs. But how you work through it, how you travel through it, how much are you willing to, work towards it, will be the part that differentiates here. Do you want to work upon? So if two people want to work in a relationship, surely you can fix any relationship, be it toxic, be it healthy, where you're having your struggles. Any relationship can be fixed upon. So there's certain things that we talk about when we say when we want to fix a relationship. So certain things that we need to take care is first acceptance of responsibility. I as an individual accept in this relationship that I was wrong when your partner was telling you something, that this made me feel uncomfortable, or your partner taking that responsibility. If you go and share, that comes up, that how much are you accepting towards that you had a fault here, or he or she had a fault here, and you want to do that. Then willingness to invest, like I told you, do you want to work through it? Are you investing your time, energy, resources, everything into this relationship again or not? So it comes from both the parties again, it's not just towards one. Then sometimes what happened, we play a lot of blame game in a relationship. You did this wrong, I did this is what happened here, or I did this because you did this, something or the other. Having that shift of blame game that you keep on doing, that needs to stop. Taking that acceptance, willingness that okay, we made a mistake in this relationship, we need to fix here. For example, if you had financial abuse, how can you work around your finances? For example, if me and my partner are working through it, how much, okay, we'll have a savings account, we both can put this much. This money is for me, this money is for you. You do whatever you want to do with this money, I'll do whatever I want to do with this money, but this is the money that runs our house. For example, that can be how you fix a financial abuse there, or how you want to do it with your partner. So then sometimes two people are not able to do it themselves. So that comes outside help, that can be friends, that can be families, and majorly a relationship counselor comes into place. Going to a relationship counselor, going to a mental health professionalist, seeking out for help, that is nothing that that I can't do this, I can't do this. They'll tell you ways. We have different ways as like a mental health professionals, I can say, we deal with a lot of cases. We see that, it's easy to fix a relationship. So it's like, it's okay. If you work here, if you work there, sometimes the insights are need to be presented in a way, therapeutic way, that we need to give to an individual. So yes, here we say we can fix a toxic relationship. But then I will give another question.
Yeah.
Okay, you asked me, is it okay to fix a toxic relationship? And I said, yes, it's okay to fix a toxic relationship. But I would ask you, where do you understand the boundary of to fix it or not?
Actually, a very good question, because sometimes we tend to lose ourselves in a relationship to even understand what boundaries are. For that, you can watch a previous video about boundaries. Okay, so when we talk about abuse, there are levels of it. Some forms it will be low, in some relationships it's huge. If you try to fix a sexually abusive relationship, no, that's not acceptable. A person is sexually abusing you, you cannot fix that. A person is physically abusing you, it is also not acceptable. So where you draw the boundaries? So if, for an instance, like on 1 week straight your partner tried to manipulate you, try to undermine you, over there maybe you can go tell your partner, let's talk about what was happening in the throughout the week. Yes, over there you can go fix. But if that is a pattern, that is a behavior which has been continuing since like 2 years, then my question to you would be, do you really want to fix a relationship, or you just want to move out of a relationship and build a life for yourself? Because yes, 5 years of investment in a relationship is a huge deal, but that has also led to a lot of anxiety and depression in you. So do you really deserve that? Do you really deserve a life which is so miserable that you just cannot see anything beyond your sadness or beyond why your partner is behaving? That question always stays in your head. Why is this happening to me? Why is my partner behaving like this? Why is my partner so mean to me? I don't think anyone would like to live like that, and it's better to seek help or move out of the relationship, because that's important. Now about moving on from a relationship. When we get out of a relationship, it's a huge loss that we see. It's not something that we can see, but it is something that we feel. We feel it in each and every body part of us. We feel it in our heart, we feel it in our head, we feel it in our hands. We think about those memories, no matter how bad a relationship was. Even when we think about it, we still feel lonely. We still feel as if we have lost a huge part of ourselves, because yes, we did lose something where we built together, formed an identity, tried, adjusted according to the partner, and that partner is not in our life. So how do you move out of it? How do you move on? The very first thing is, cut off all the ties that you have with your partner. Please, blocking is acceptable, it's not wrong. If you think blocking will get you some sense of mental peace, then go ahead and do it. Because there's a pattern in a relationship. After breakup, that partner keeps on approaching you again and again. Over there is the need when you have to just cut off all the ties, because that is going to cause again a lot of trauma for you, a lot of issues for you, a lot of emotional damage for you. So why even after breaking up you want to do that? Then the second thing is self-care. We tend to neglect self-care a lot, even in a day-to-day life, no matter whether it's because of relationship or work or anything. So maybe we can start prioritizing our self-care. Maybe you can go for a spa, or maybe you can go take a vacation, go on a solo trip. Best time, best way to know yourself. Then every day include a new activity in your life. Include something new that makes you happy, something new that gives you that rush, that okay, I'm happy today. Then forgive your partner. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you go back to your partner, and forgiveness doesn't mean that you go tell your partner I've forgiven you. No. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is not for your partner. You forgive your partner for the behaviors they have done, and you move on from it. You accept it and then you forgive it. Not that you're not accepting it, you're just going and telling your partner, I forgive you. But actually you have not forgiven them. You are always thinking about whatever was happening in the relationship. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness comes with acceptance. Okay, this happened. This shouldn't have happened. Now I need to find ways to get out of it. And the first step towards is to forgive your partner. Then therapy. Therapy is always going to help you. It will also help you in fixing a toxic, not excessively toxic relationship, a somewhat unhealthy relationship, I would say. And it will also help you to grow as a person after breakup, because it leads to a lot of self-esteem issues. Then the last thing is that to reconnect with your family, with your friends, because it's needed. Your friends and your family will give you a perspective about your breakup which you might have ignored, which you might have not seen, which you were rationalizing because you were in a relationship but actually mattered. So this is definitely going to help you in recovering from a toxic relationship. Okay, so we do have some questions, and if you would like to answer.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Okay. Um. Okay. 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 So a person, someone has asked us that last night their partner bit him while they were feeding him ice cream, and the partner also said that you're hurting me, and he said that it's okay, it can't hurt that much, and he was dancing. He did not care about how much pain I was in. Does it amount to abuse? So first thing I would like to know how frequent it has happened. It's a last night incident. Okay, this is no. I'm not going to support this particular incident that by saying that okay, it's okay to bite and be like, oh no, you're not facing that much pain. I know the intensity of the bite. No, this is not how it works. Is it a toxic behavior? Behavior is a pattern. Behavior is not one incident. So if it keeps on happening, yes, it's a pattern wherein we can say it's toxic. Otherwise, I would just say you can go ahead, talk to your partner, draw your boundary over there, tell them this is not acceptable, and in future if something like this happens, I will take a step back and might have to reconsider things, because this is not something I appreciate personally. So this is a way you can address this issue. But for knowing if it's a toxic behavior, I need to know if it has been happening since a very long time. Okay, twice is still not a behavior. Clearly you're not knowing your boundaries well with your partner, wherein you have to start working on your boundaries and just going and addressing that you are not very comfortable with the incident, and please do not do it from the next time. If your partner still does, then if he is an alcoholic also, yes, then it's a form of abuse, but not a form of physical abuse. It could be a form of emotional abuse. If your partner is not taking you seriously, I would like to know more about it. I cannot just tell you whether or how it should be. And the very first thing I would ask you is, do you really want to stay in the relationship with the person who's not taking you seriously? That's a very basic question. And if you really want to stay, then maybe you guys can come in for therapy and we can work on your issues. And for that, your partner definitely needs to cut down on their alcohol if he's an alcoholic.
And plus, even having a healthy boundary set up when maybe he's not in form of any kind of having any kind of substance. So maybe in the morning, or maybe when the right time comes, you both can sit, talk, even if he doesn't take you seriously. That is where we have talked about, like in our previous videos, about boundary setting, how to set boundaries, where to set boundaries, what is healthy boundary setting. So that is needed in this relationship. So having that boundary setting is really important. So if you can go ahead, if you want to invest in this relationship, again the question comes, do you want or do you not want to stay in this relationship?
Exactly. So
it totally depends upon you. If you can fix it, you can fix it through therapy, you can fix it while talking to each other, breaking those patterns. So that can go ahead.
So if anyone has any other questions you would like us to elaborate on, we will do that. Otherwise, that's it for today. Next Thursday we'll be coming with another topic about reality of relationships and illusions around it. So stay tuned for more.